So today we're talking about rejection, and we're going to do a rejection exercise. And I thought I'd bring you out here because I have these plants, and you can't see them all, that are doing quite well right now. And I have others that are in the window you can't really see. That I have said, and I've actually said this plant doesn't love me. This plant is not feeling my vibe and things like that, right? Because the plants were dying. And when we learned to speak the same language, and I realized what they actually needed, certain plant foods, and it's different for every plant, it changed. And we now have these amazing plants right now. So I just wanted to sort of bring that to your attention, because sometimes it's how we look at things. And if we're not speaking the same language, or it's not in sync with what's working in our world, you know, that's important that we pay attention to that. So I'm going to show you a rejection exercise, and I really hope that you will use it and start to look at things just a little bit differently. It's our rejection exercise, and we're going to write a list of things that stung or you felt rejected by. And I like to use water-soluble markers for this. So I'm going to use the Staedtler markers. I find that they're, I also have Tombows, I have water-soluble pencil crayons, you can use Crayola washable, anything, but I mean, you use what you want to use. I like to wash it away and before I cover it up, so it kind of like gives it less power. So I like washable markers for that reason. So things that I have felt rejected by or that stung when it happened. So maybe not getting, well, there was a podcast I wanted that I didn't get. So podcast interview. Not being chosen for a book I wanted to be in. And didn't get invited to a wedding. Not that I wanted to go, but it's still for some reason, because who wants to go to a wedding in COVID, and nobody was wearing masks and it freaked me out, but I didn't get invited. Which is so funny. Invited. So, but you can't stop your feelings. I don't even particularly talk to these people much anymore, so why would they invite me? They wouldn't, right? And so, but seeing, you know, friends there, it still stung. And I would have had to say no because I couldn't go. What other things? So just sort of a list of things that, you know, have stung. And, oh, missing a call from somebody that I haven't talked to in a while. We just keep playing phone tag. And so that's, you know, it's like, are we not meant to talk to each other? Like, these are the things that go through your head. So I'm going to just put those ones down. And now, like I said, I like water soluble. So I'm just going to wash those away a little bit. Give that a little bit of less power, if you will. And then I'm going to add some paint. What paint do I want to add? Okay, so there's a couple I have on my desk, and you might notice there's a theme with the colors that I choose. I often choose purples and pinks and yellows, sometimes some blue. I don't very often choose green or you know, colors like that. So I'm just gonna throw some paint on here now. Just cover that up. I want to get rid of those words. I just want to get rid of that. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. Just wash it away, cover it up. Oh, now it ends up being a beautiful orange. I like that. See, sometimes you don't even know what you're going to get. Now I'm going to just dry it a bit. So you can dry it a bit, you can leave it and come back to it. I'm also going to just take some off because I often put too much paint on. I like paint. And I like to keep these paper towels as well that I use. I use them for other things in my art journal. So I'm going to take off some of this paint. Now I have pinks and oranges and purples. I love that. And I'm going to just open that up so it can dry and dry off. And then I'll just a little drier. Okay, I'm quite liking that. So now over top of this, we're going to write up to 5 reasons why it was good that it didn't happen, right? So, for instance, what pen do I want to use? I think I'm going to use a darker color. But you can draw pictures or you can write. But over top of this, why is it good it didn't happen? Like, for instance, the invite. COVID's very real, and no one was wearing masks, so that's good. So a COVID possibility. The missed phone call. Maybe when we actually get to talk, we'll have more time. We will. My paint's a little wet still. So maybe we'll have more time when we do get to talk. And oh, I didn't get chosen for that book. But you know what? I ended up in a really great book. An even better book. So this one is an even better book. And again, you can do pictures. You can... oh, and that podcast interview that I didn't get. I'm on a lot of really great podcasts. So, you know, maybe the reason I didn't get it is because we're not a good fit. We're not a good fit. And maybe they saw that more than I did, right? So, and again, you can draw pictures for this. I'm going to dry this a little more. So that, you know, so it's just learning to look at things a little bit differently. So now maybe I want to draw something positive that's happened over top of that. Or maybe I want to elaborate on that. So, like for instance, masks. Right? Nobody was wearing masks at that wedding. And masks are super important for me right now because my partner can get quite ill. And, you know, not being a good fit for a podcast. And when I go on a different podcast, because I have done many of them, more people find me. So there's more people find the work that I'm doing, right? So that's one of the positives of not going on the wrong one. And the book, we went to the international best-selling list the day it came out. So the book that I ended up being in did amazing. So I may have missed that opportunity if I was busy with this other opportunity. And oh, my friend that, you know, we haven't connected yet, but I'm really hoping that we'll have a lot more time to connect together and, you know, and talk for a longer period of time. And really be able to spend that time and we're not rushing, right? So that's talking bubbles. So, you know, draw pictures, do what you want. You can even collage on top of this. Anything that makes you look at things in a different way. That's what you want. And I'll show you another way of doing this too. Okay? And so this is like some of the other exercises that we've done. We are going to write out some of those things that we've felt rejected. And I'm going to use water-soluble markers. There's so many different kinds you can use. Crayola washables, Tombows, Stettlers. Where have I felt rejected? I'm going to pick some colors that... Rejection seems like a red color. So one of the ones I put here, I've felt rejection when people didn't listen to me, when I was trying to speak and no one heard me. So that comes, I think, a lot from my childhood and not being heard. But that's one of those ones that still has a bit of a sting for me, right? And so I'm just going to now, at this point you can take paint or crayons or pencil crayons and go right over top of it. But what I'm going to do is actually take some water, because I used water soluble, and I'm just going to wash that away. Right? I'm just going to wash those words right away. And then I might cover them up with some more, but I want to take away that sting, if you will. I want to take away how they feel. And so I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to, I want to add some pencil crayon to cover it over. And these are, again, watercolor pencil crayons. So they're water soluble, and I'm just going to like get rid of that rejection. Right? I don't need to feel that. And whatever colors you choose is completely up to you. Red felt like rejection, so I'm using similar color palettes to pinks and oranges. You can see my page is wet for part of it and not for others. I'm going to add a bit more water because I want that completely gone. I want that rejection that hurts washed away or covered up. There we go. Just get rid of that. And you can't even see it anymore. You can't see those words anymore. So now over top of this, because now we have, I'm going to dry it a bit. Okay, so I just dried it up a bit so that I wouldn't be quite so wet. Now over top of this, I am going to draw or write what it feels like to have moved past that rejection. What if that didn't happen? What if I was listened to? How would that feel? And that's what I'm going to write now. And I do like to write words, but I think I might draw for this one. Not quite dry. I'm just gonna draw, and I've got this crazy curly hair. And this is me smiling because I'm listened to. And I feel excited and valued because I was listened to. And this just helps me to erase those rejection feelings and bring about those positive feelings. Because the more we can implement those positive thoughts into our brain, the more we can help make change, right? Change our brain patterns. So I'm going to write listened to. I was listened to. And that's really all it takes. You don't have to be elaborate. You can spend more time writing things or drawing what you were feeling rejected about. You can spend more time writing or drawing, you know, what's on top. But this is just an exercise in changing those thought patterns. Okay, so I just finished the rejection exercise, and I did it a couple ways to show you just different ways to think about things, right? Sometimes rejection is not as bad as we think. Sometimes good things happen because we were rejected. Sometimes it has nothing to do with us. It just isn't the right time. Sometimes, better things come from it. You know, I talked about the book offer and the one I thought I wanted, and then I ended up in this really amazing one where we went to the international best-selling list on the first day. You know, so you never know what's going to happen with rejection. And rejection can hurt. But let's move forward and let's, start to change that narrative of what we're telling ourselves, because it's not always about us, right? It more often than not, it's not about us. And if it is, then maybe it's just not the right connection. So thoughts to think about, okay? So have an amazingly creative day, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.